You ever had that one thing in your TV show that was kind of dragging your show down but wouldn't if it was taken out completely? Scandal Season 4. If you haven't seen my Season 3 review of Scandal, you should go check that out. And if you're interested in the show but haven't seen Seasons 1 through 3, you should definitely watch those before you watch this review, because spoilers. Here we go. So, this season of Scandal begins with Olivia Pope basically going on a romantic getaway with Jake Ballard, just to get away from everything. All the chaos that went on in the last season, that goes on in this show in general. She's getting away from it, and Jake's with her. However, she hears that Harrison Wright has died, which in the real world means that Columbus Short has left the show due to personal issues. But in the show, if you remember in the season finale when he was held up in gunpoint, it was like one little shot. Yeah, he died in that moment. So she hears about Harrison's death and comes back to Washington, D.C., and Pope and Associates have scattered, with the exception of Quinn. Quinn's still working OPA, but Huck is at an electronics store. Abby is now the new press secretary at the White House. So now Olivia's got to come back and bring everyone together. Well, she can't bring Abby back because, she's busy being the press secretary. However, being a press secretary of the White House makes a very great contact. Meanwhile, at the White House, Fitz and Mellie are still grieving about their son who died on election night last season. However, Mellie's taking it really towards the deep end, as she's pretty much not showering, she's not dressing up, just walking around in a bathrobe all day. She's smiling a little more forcefully. She's always taking trips to her son's headstone and eating chips and laughing on the grave. She's taken her grief pretty badly. So some people deal with grief with different ways. She's taken it in a way that has dubbed everyone in social media to dub her Smelly Mellie. Meanwhile, Fitz has to deal with that. He feels very sad about his son. He feels bummed that Olivia disappeared for like 2 months. And he's causing a lot of commotion in D.C. by advocating for more moderate policies. I mean, he's a Republican, but he's like the most moderate Republican president in this show's universe since like Dwight D. Eisenhower or something, which is pretty much making the conservative base very mad. I mean, he's in support of gun control policies. He doesn't want to invade a certain third world country that everyone else in his party is going for. The face of this chaos that's facing President Grant is Elizabeth North, played by Portia Rossi, who is, at the start of this series, the head of the Republican National Committee. But that's okay, because Olivia is back in town, and things are probably gonna get better, things are gonna resolve themselves, and OPA, Olivia Pope and Associates, is back to fix things, just like they were always meant to do. It's strange how little of that happens in this show. When there's an episode in which Olivia is actually just doing her normal thing, fixing something in which a person, politician, or big official in Washington, D.C. or whatever, comes by and says, I got a problem that needs to be fixed. I'm accused of a crime wrongfully or something like that. I need your help. It feels like a blast in the past when it happens, because for the most part, much of this season has been focused on one thing: B613, aka Olivia's daddy. Now, the idea of a covert organization that pretty much has been running the world beyond the president's control by means of secret assassinations and stuff like that is intriguing on paper and maybe for like a season. But it keeps going in this show. Every time, I swear, the past couple of seasons, every time there was an attempt to try to bring B613 down, something got in the way. Someone got murdered that would have served as a great witness. Someone was going to expose them and it was foolproof, and then they get murdered. It just seems like a lot of people are getting killed, actually. But something gets in the way. Olivia's father is always one step ahead. And while I do like Joe Morton as Papa Pope, his prevalence in the series is starting to get a little annoying, where it felt like B613 was just getting dragged out, and I wanted it to stop. Now, thankfully, the B613 thing does get resolved in this season. It does get resolved by the end of the season, which makes me happy, because that gives me hope that next season they're going to focus on other stuff. They're going to focus back on fixing things, Olivia's feelings for Fitz, Fitz's presidency, the things that really got me into the show in the first place, because B613 just got so big and super duper important that it felt like it got in the way of everything else, and I wanted it to be put to rest, finally. Other than that, the existing cast still performs very well. The writing on this show very much oftentimes feels like that there's someone trying to put a little of themselves and their beliefs in the dialogue, making it come off very witty, because that was always like one of the strong points of this show was the dialogue. Very snappy, sometimes very opinionated, sometimes it comes off a little biased, but, you know, that's the nature of artistic writing, is that sometimes you gotta have a little bit of a bias. You can't be completely neutral. That's not the basis of filmmaking. But the nice thing is, I'm still excited to watch more of this show. I'm excited for Season 5, especially now with the whole B613 thing out of the way. I'm excited for next season. I still think that there's more they can do within the next 3 or 4 years that this show probably has left in it, because that's like how much longer Fitz has left to be president, right? I'm still excited to watch this show, unlike some other show I talked about very recently where I'm not entirely excited to watch next season. So, that was my review of Scandal Season 4. Tell me what you thought about it in the comments section, or not, whatever. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.